Hello and welcome to another Salesforce self-implementation of Pro Suite video. Today we're going to walk through how to turn on state and country as pick lists. So we're going to jump right in. Let's just go ahead and look at an account. So I'm going to help you see the problem statement, which I'm sure you've probably already experienced. When I create an account or contact, I go to a record and then I see here like, it's free text. Like, eek, yuck, like we are using Salesforce because we want to clean up our data, have it more useful and more organized, but how is that going to work when people can misspell, or some people are going to use a code, some are using the whole name. How do we fix that? So I'm actually going to propose two different options for you. One is some people are going to say, clean up all your data before you load it, especially as it relates to state and country. You need to get it all organized. That is one option, not a bad option. But the other thing actually is Salesforce is not bad actually at helping you clean up the list that you would import. So let's just walk through. I'm going to walk you through it, and then you can use, as we walk through it, you can use it as your kind of judgment to determine what you might want to do there. All right, so, and the other thing to know is that if you've already imported it, it offers a way for you to clean it up. So there's only really one way, one step to go. Once I go through this process, I won't go through it again. So you got to kind of go with me live, and we're going to cross fingers and hope it works really well for a live demo. All right, so back here. I just did it without, this is my problem, right? I go fast. All right, so we went to setup, and I went to type state and country, right? So if I click on this, it says state and country territory pick lists. It gives me the 5 steps, and it's telling us, we need to make sure we complete these in order. So I'm going to click the first one, and it's just asking me here, which countries do I want to be active? And, this is really pretty nice because a lot of times maybe you don't want to show everything, because then your users just have to spend that much more time working through that. I might have to go all small here. Oh, okay, actually here, sorry, I couldn't see my scroll bar because it was behind my picture. All right, so I can click everything off, and then I can just scroll through and find the ones I want. I'm going to use my browser, Control F, to quickly find, maybe I'm just working within the United Kingdom, the United States, Canada. Actually, I need to make sure I click on both here. All right, so I'm going to go through those, and you can see here on the right, let me scroll up to the top so you can see the headings. So we're asking is it active, yes or no, and is it visible, yes or no, and then it tells us the available states and provinces. And so here, for example, maybe if I shouldn't have done that, sorry. This is the challenge of going live because I lost the other thing I did, which is okay, but I'll show you how to navigate that back. Okay, so then here within Australia, maybe I don't want all of these visible, so I can uncheck and just check the ones on that I want, and I would save that. In this case, Australia wasn't one I wanted, so let me just go back here. All right, so let's just do the United States and the United States and Canada. Actually, we'll just do these. Okay, so I need to hit save. Okay, there it went. All right, now if I want to go in, so actually the United States is a good example because it says 63, but maybe I just want the 50 states, right? So if I don't, then I can come in here and I can look through these and make sure that I don't, like Puerto Rico is off. You know, I can make sure that if I need to add visibility to some, then I can, right? So maybe I want Puerto Rico on. I make it active and visible. Of course, I can add new states and all that stuff, right? So just going to go ahead and hit save there. And so that's really how I configure the basic setup of the state and countries as pick lists. All right, so I'm going to go back out. So now, because I saved that, we should all be good. And now that's done. I also want to just pick a default country, and that's done. All right, so I'm going to go back. I did that. Now this is going to do a scan, and it's going to scan all my records in the system, and it's going to give me some results back. This is in part why I say it's not the worst thing if you bring in kind of dirty data. This wizard will help you kind of navigate that and clean that up for you in mass. So I'm just going to go on pause here, hold until this completes, and then when it's done, I'll come back. All right, so it said I would get an email once it was done, and I got the email, and it's also got a note here that says last scan was completed. So I'm going to go back to my wizard, and I'm going to follow step number 3, where I convert identified data. All right, so it's telling me here that I have these values in the system. And so if you've imported a bunch of data, you might see a whole massive list here. And what it's going to ask you to do is select which ones, this list is going to be those options that you selected on the previous screen. And it's basically saying, check whichever ones are, and you're going to map them. So I want these all to map to the United States, or maybe let's just for several purposes, hit save to change list. Now it moves it to the bottom. I'm going to select that, move it to United Kingdom, save to change list, and then I'm going to hit next. It's going to do the same thing for the states, right? So I have DEC. I need to change that to District of Columbia, save to list, and I have Nebraska. I'm going to save that to Nebraska, save to change list, right? So again, maybe this is where I want you to kind of see this setup and determine, is it going to be easier for you to clean it all up beforehand, or do you want to do it in the system because it does help you kind of navigate that. So I'm going to go ahead and hit next, and then I'm going to say, so it just tells me here, right, I'm making data changes. So if I'm ready, then I can go ahead and hit finish, and then it's saying enabling or disabling it can cause performance issues, so just be careful of that. So just be aware. I'm going to go ahead and hit finish, and it's taking me back to my wizard again. The other thing I just want you to think about, so one of the things that I didn't realize when this first came out, I'm like, why wouldn't they just default this on for every org? And part of the reason is because if you're going to build a system and have systems integrate, then sometimes having that state and country pick list is a real problem, because sometimes you have to allow for the kind of junk data because it's coming from another system. So if you're planning to do an integration in the very near term, or if that's in your future, you might just want to be aware of whether or not you want to turn it on. Or maybe you map those integration fields to a different address field so that you can preserve this data. Whatever you want to do there are options, but that's the reason why it's not defaulted on to begin with. And so you can also disable it. So just so you know that. So hope that's helpful. We're going to click, so it's saying after you convert this data, this will be enabled. So we can go ahead again and choose here to enable. By the way, it also has another scan again that you can run to identify new and unconverted data. So again, it's a really helpful process to keep your data clean. Okay, so we have enabled that. All right, and now sometimes these will take just a minute, but let's just go ahead and give it a try. All right, there it is, nice and pretty. One thing to note, a couple things to note, you can do a cool search in here where you search for, 8123 Mission Street. Great. I select that, it auto-populates for me. It should have. Well, this is part of doing a live demo. So I'm going to go on pause here and figure out why that didn't work. It might just honestly be taking the minute to populate. So we'll give it a second, but I'll walk you through this anyway. Billing country. So just know, because your state is determined based on the country you select, that's why country is sitting up here first instead of at the end, because otherwise you'd try to pick a state there and you wouldn't be able to because your country wasn't selected. So country is at top so that you select your country so your states are available. But what I wanted you to see is that this is a cool, powerful little lookup tool that I use a lot to make sure you pick a valid address, and it just can auto-populate that information for you into the appropriate fields. So we're going to go ahead and pause here. I'm going to refresh and give it a time to make sure it works, and we'll come back here in a second. All right, so thanks for sticking with me through this live demo, and that's really that was all it was, is it just took a second to load. So now we can see here that we're going to say 123 Mission Street, and now you can see United States, California. I can save that. It's a great little tool, and my map shows up. So hope this is helpful to you. Again, subscribe for more, and let us know in the comments. Hopefully this is helpful for you. Give us your feedback. Let us know what else you would like us to cover, and we'll see you in the next video of self-implementation of Salesforce Pro Suite.